Here is Israel and Hezbollah strategy when IDF launches a ground invasion towards the south of Lebanon. We all know Hezbollah has been fortifying its area near the border with 4 layers of defense. The first layer starts here, moving back as the second layer, and the third and fourth layers are positioned here in the back as command and control centers. At the tip of the spear are the tactical defense compartments, located strategically along these areas close to the border but spread out to remain as close as possible. Interestingly, they will not keep the rocket-firing positions close to the tactical defense area to avoid collateral damage. Just behind the rocket compartments is the headquarters responsible for directing and commanding troop movements. And finally, we have the sector headquarters. Israel, on the other hand, will be conducting air raids to take down high-value assets like anti-aircraft guns. The second and third waves of the IDF will include inserting special forces, artillery guns, and infantry soldiers. We will also take a quick look at Hezbollah Fager Rocket and the Iranian Tufan missiles, all in the videos ahead. Hezbollah, one of the Middle East's largest non-state actors, has been planning its strategy in tactical defense and offensive operations. As we all know, the IDF has well-armored tanks such as the Merkava and the Namr fighting vehicle. However, Hezbollah might use the terrain and climate to Israel's disadvantage in armored and maneuver warfare, as most of these areas are hilly and rocky, unsuitable for tank tactics. Hezbollah's tactics include light infantry, reportedly numbering around 100,000 soldiers, and anti-tank weapons like the Tufan, an Iranian anti-tank guided missile reverse-engineered from the American BGM-71 TOW missile. We will also look at how to fire this missile shortly in the video ahead. Additionally, Hezbollah has around 100,000 rockets in its arsenal, though some internal reports suggest they have up to 1 million rockets in stockpile, an immense quantity of weapons. Not to forget the hundreds of drones from Iran like this one, which can serve as both counter-surveillance while also switching to attacking mode. Let's take a look at Hezbollah's strategy to counter the IDF defense. These are the areas where tank and armored warfare are difficult to traverse. These tactical defense systems are located all along the border, strategically positioned to be the first line of defense. They can consist of an anti-aircraft gun, usually the Zu-23 Russian weaponry from the 1950s, as discussed in our earlier animation, mounted on a Toyota pickup truck. A tactical defense also needs a company of soldiers armed to the teeth, typically around 100 to 150 soldiers equipped with RPG. One of the most effective weapons Hezbollah will be using is the Iranian Tufan. These can be positioned on top of a pickup truck for shoot and scoot capabilities, but can also be operated by a 2-person crew. This is the Iranian re-engineered American TOW missile that has been in service since the 1960s. Let's take a look at its basic parts. It consists of a launch tube. At the top is the targeting acquisition system, supported by a tripod and a traversing unit. This is the battery-powered source required to operate the targeting computer. And finally, we have the coil connection that helps the gunner guide its target. The gunner tracks the target with the crosshairs on center mass, but the missile automatically flies 2.25 meters above the line of sight, and then the gunner directs the missiles using the controls located here. However, it's essential to maintain the crosshair on the moving vehicle to facilitate data transmission through the optical wire, ensuring the missile reaches its intended target and not try to fly the missile. When the missile senses that it is directly above the target by means of the target's shape and magnetic field, it automatically fires its warhead and destroys its target. This missile has a fragmentation warhead that weighs 7 pounds, which translates to around 3.2 kilograms, and has the ability to penetrate up to 200 millimeters of double reinforced concrete. Moving ahead from the tactical defense section, Hezbollah has another department that fires and controls the rocket. This is the Fager Rocket, commonly used by Hezbollah and Iran as one of the major armaments in unguided rocket sections. When mounted on a Toyota truck, these fire rockets with motors containing only solid rocket fuel. Let's have a look inside the Hezbollah rocket. This is the fuse of the rocket. Moving further back is the warhead, which weighs around 57 pounds that can be translated to 26 kilograms. Just behind it is the rocket motor and solid fuel system. And finally, these are the fins that pops out after being fired. They are responsible for stabilizing the missile. According to the variants, it has a range of up to 10 to 75 kilometers. This weapon system can launch up to 20 to 40 rockets in about 20 seconds. The strategy of this weapon is to deliver overwhelming firepower designed to attack an area rather than a point target. When fired from 20 kilometers away, a salvo of 20 Fager rockets creates a lethal damage area of 20 hectares. Moving further ahead, we can find the area headquarters that control communication and the direction of infantry and troop movements. All this can be achieved through surveillance drones like this one. These drones can scan an area, relay rough latitudes and longitudes, and assign designated targets. Let's take a look at the basic process of firing a one-way UAS. The surveillance drone can loiter and wait for targets. As soon as a target is identified, Hezbollah can launch these self-made kamikaze drones with a rocket-assisted takeoff. There's the Adarsh drone with a propeller that can carry a large payload warhead, the jet-powered one-way UAS to strike deep into Israel territory, and finally the famous Shahed drone, also used by the Russian in Ukraine. Taking a closer look, this is the makeshift one-way drone. It has a rocket-assisted takeoff located at the bottom. When launched, it thrusts the drone to a suitable height and drops off the booster, as shown in the animation. It then switches on the propeller engine for the remainder of its flight. The famous Arash-2 drone also requires a rocket-assisted takeoff, with a propeller at the back. It usually features a Mato 550 engine with a range of around 2,000 kilometers, translating to approximately 1,200 miles. When struck, it packs a punch with its shockwave effect. Moving forward is a jet-powered drone that can travel a range of around 1,000 kilometers. Similar to the others, it has a rocket-assisted takeoff that ejects the excess weight once the booster is fully utilized. Interestingly, this drone can also carry the Mark 82 general-purpose bomb, a 500-pound unguided, low-drag weapon. Let's take a look at the IDF strategy and how it might work. As we all know, Israel has an air force and navy apart from the army. Since Israel somewhat controls the sky, the tip of the spear in their attack are the stealth fighter jets, the F-35 or the F-16. The first wave of the attack can be the F-35 using JDAM precision-guided ammunition to destroy stationary targets like bunkers or headquarters, mainly located near the south. And not to forget Hezbollah anti-air defense systems like the Panzer mobile truck, which can destroy low-flying objects or aircraft. This is where the F-35 jets come in and destroy high-value targets. It might be done using Israeli laser-guided bombs, which uses semi-active laser guidance to strike a designated target. The F-35 can do this because of the stealth technology associated with it. This clears the way for the Israeli F-16s, which are more agile and available in large numbers. Quick note, Israel has 362 F-16 fighter jets, while there are approximately 36 F-35 stealth jets available in service. The F-16 and F-35 would become the first wave of the attack, destroying as many anti-aircraft guns as possible. The second wave of attack includes inserting special forces into Hezbollah territory along with drone surveillance. Special forces act as forward observers to communicate with the fire and command center. These highly trained soldiers are tasked with laying longitude codes essential for guiding the self-propelled guns or directing artillery fire, often referred to as the King of Battle. Let's examine why they might still be called the King of Battle. Firstly, fighter jets cannot engage more targets than artillery. A fighter jet flies one mission per day, dropping 2 500-pound bombs before flying home. Artillery can spend all day and all night pounding targets with 100-pound shells. While the bombs dropped by fighter bombers tend to be heavier than artillery shells, that in and of itself is not that much of a benefit. The cost factor also comes into play. It costs around $200,000 for a fighter jet to fly a single close air support mission. By contrast, an artillery shell costs a few $100s, and thus calling artillery the King of Battle. The third wave involves deploying infantry soldiers using Namur fighting vehicles and Merkava tanks south of Lebanon. As a reminder, Israel also gained early experience with urban warfare during the 1982 Lebanon War. However, Hezbollah has an advantage in urban warfare. Attacking forces will struggle to achieve the element of surprise because they are monitored by the defending troops, who can remain hidden from the attackers. Buildings, especially those made of steel-reinforced concrete or stone, serve as fortified bunkers from which defending forces can fire upon attackers. Another possibility is Hezbollah's large network of tunnels and buildings. They can use these to flank larger infantry units, employing RPGs and automatic weapons. Using the hit-and-run tactics, a smaller army can appear larger. However, neither attacking nor defending forces can mass their assets in a concentrated location, resulting in a potentially never-ending conflict. We make original videos from scratch, so please do subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos.